The truth does not always arrive gently. Sometimes it breaks through like a storm. Sir Bear had not yet rested when the messenger found him. Dust-covered, breath unsteady, the man carried urgency in every step he took. The moment he spoke Aaron's name, Bear listened, not as a warrior, but as a man who already feared what he might hear. The message was clear. The king was in danger. What had seemed like victory in Mandev was no victory at all. Forces were gathering, something unseen was closing in, and Aaron, for all his strength, could not hold it alone. Bear did not hesitate. Grief for his brother did not slow him, it sharpened him. Orders were given swiftly, movements calculated with precision. There would be no delay, no pause. If there was still time, he would reach his king. If there was still a path, he would cut through it. And if there was a battle waiting, then he would meet it head on. Far from the urgency of war, within the vast and disciplined structure of Ciro, another fate quietly unfolded. Rondel, the last heir of Tyre, had been reduced to something unrecognizable. No longer a prince, no longer protected, he was sold, exchanged like property, his identity lost beneath exhaustion and silence. The noble who purchased him saw only a broken boy, useful for service, nothing more. And so, within the very heart of Mandev, the son of a fallen kingdom lived unseen, unheard, and unknown. Fate had not ended his story, but it had buried it. In Mandev, the illusion of control shattered completely. King Malu revealed the depth of his strategy, not through words, but through action. Routes were closed, paths sealed. What had once been open ground became a prison. Aaron and his men, deep within unfamiliar land, found themselves surrounded, not by chaos, but by design. The soldiers of Ciro moved with terrifying discipline, cutting off escape, tightening the hold, pressing forward without weakness. The trap had been laid long before Aaron ever stepped into Mandev, and now it was closing. Battle erupted, but this time it was different. There was no advantage, no momentum, only resistance against something far stronger than expected. Aaron fought as he always had, fierce, determined, unwilling to fall, but even strength has limits when surrounded by inevitability. One by one, his men fell. The ground beneath him, once claimed as victory, now became the place of his final stand, and in the end, even he could not rise again. King Aaron fell, not as a conqueror, but as a man who had walked too far into a truth he did not see.
And then, silence. Not the silence of aftermath, but of awakening. Aaron's eyes opened. The battle was gone. The screams, the steel, the fall of his men, gone. He was not in Mandev. He had never been there. He was in Tyre, within his own chamber, alive, unbroken, and yet changed. The weight of what he had just experienced pressed heavily upon him, not as memory, but as something far more unsettling. A vision, a warning. Everything, from the rumors of Malu's death, to the march, to the trap, to his own fall, had unfolded within his mind like a future already written. But it was not entirely false, because in truth Queen Sharon had indeed acted. She had set her plan in motion to poison King Malu. The betrayal was real, the danger within Mandev was real, but what followed remained uncertain, and that uncertainty was where kings either rose or fell. Aaron did not rise in panic, he rose in thought. He understood now that rushing toward Mandev could lead him straight into the very fate he had just witnessed. He was not a reckless king. He was a calculative one. Every move had weight, every decision carried consequence, and now he had seen the cost of choosing wrongly. So he turned his mind not to war, but to positioning. The offer from King Dalot of Sigrid returned to him with new clarity. Trade, alliance, marriage, a path that strengthened Tyre without stepping blindly into danger. It was not weakness, it was strategy. And so, without hesitation, but with full awareness, Aaron made his decision. He would accept. A letter was written, its words calm, measured, and deliberate. He accepted Dalot's proposal with respect and intelligence, not as a man in need, but as a king choosing his ground wisely. Gifts were sent alongside it, symbols of strength, of wealth, of intent, horses, grains, crafted goods, not submission, but balance. And as the messengers rode out carrying his decision across the Eastland, Aaron stood still for a moment longer, his mind sharper than it had ever been. He had seen his end, and now he would not walk into it. Across the Eastland, nothing had yet happened, but everything was about to.